Good morning. Today we'll be studying the 5th chapter of Hilchot Tefila, Birkat Cohanim, and this chapter deals with 8 different items that an individual must be careful to do them. However, in contrast to the 5 qualifications we talked about in the last chapter, the following things don't cancel out an individual's tefillah, whereas the 5 qualifications that we spoke about last year hinder a person to fulfill his obligation. And the following items, if an individual didn't do them, his tefillah is still considered valid. Halacha Aleph. הלכות תפילה פרק ה' הלכה א' שמונה דברים צריך המתפלל להיזהר בהן ולעשותן. There are 8 things that someone who is praying must be careful and observe them. ואם היה דחוק או נאנס או שעבר ולא עשה אותם, however, if a person was stuck or occupied and transgressed and didn't do one of the following things, enan me'akebin, he still fulfilled his obligation of prayer. Ve'eluhen, and they are the following: Amidah, standing, v'nochach hamikdash, and facing the Bet HaMikdash, v'tikun haguf, in correct posture, v'tikun hamalbush, being properly clothed, v'tikun hamakom, standing in the proper place, v'ashvayat hakol, the modulation of the voice, v'hakeri'ah, and bowing on one's knees, v'ishtahabaya, prostrating oneself on the ground. Halacha bet. Amida ketzad. How is the condition of standing fulfilled? And the source for this is actually a pasuk in Tehillim, Mizmor Ch.5 pasuk lamed, where the pasuk says, "V'ya'amod Pinehas v'yitpalel." Amida ketzad. En mitpalelin ela me'omed. An individual can only be praying while he is standing up. Haya yoshev basefina o ba'agala. However, if an individual was sitting in a ship or on a wagon, im yachol la'amod ya'amod. If he has the ability to stand without endangering himself, he can stand. Ve'im lav. However, if he can't, yeshev bimkomo ve'itpalel. He should sit in his place and pray. And this is, bear in mind that an individual that is already sitting in one of these places. Hole mitpalel afilu shochev al tzido. Someone who is ill prays even while he is lying on his side, provided that he can properly focus on the tefillah. Similarly, anyone who is thirsty or hungry to a degree that it truly hinders their focus and concentration, they are included in someone who is ill. If he can focus and concentrate on the tefillah, yitpalel, then he should pray. Ve'im lav, if he can't, he should not pray until he eats or drinks, and thereby will be able to focus. If an individual is riding on his animal, even though he may have somebody who'll be holding his animal so that it won't run away, he shouldn't get off his animal. Rather, he should sit and continue sitting on his animal and pray in one place, in order for him to be at ease. Halacha Gimel. Nochach hamikdash ketzad. How is the condition fulfilled in regards to the direct praying and facing the Bet HaMikdash? If an individual was standing outside of Eretz Israel, mahazir panav nochach Eretz Israel mikpalel. The individual faces the Eretz Israel, wherever that may be in the world, and prays in that direction. Haya omed ba'aretz. If he was already in Eretz Israel, mechaven panav keneged Yerushalayim. He should face Yerushalayim. Haya omed b'Yerushalayim. If an individual was standing in Yerushalayim, mechaven panav keneged hamikdash. He should direct and face the place of the Mikdash. Haya omed b'Mikdash. If an individual was standing inside the Bet HaMikdash, מכוון פניו כנגד בית קודש הקודשים. Individual should face the Holy of Holies, where that place was. Some, anyone who is blind, or somebody that cannot determine the directions. Or anybody who is going in a ship, as when someone's in a ship, the directions shift when they're in a boat. He should direct his mind and his thoughts sorry. He should direct his mind and his thoughts towards the divine presence or the Shekhinah, and then he should pray. Halakha Daled. Tikkun haguf ketzad. How is the condition of correct posture fulfilled? Keshehu omed batefila, tzarich lechaven et raglav zo betzad zo. When an individual is standing while he is praying, he must have his feet opposite each other. Venoten einav lemata ki'ilu hu mabit la'aretz. And his eyes should be lowered as if he's looking towards the ground. Ve'elibo panui lemala ki'ilu hu omed bashamayim. And his mind and his thoughts should be directed upwards as if he is standing in the heavens. Umaniach yadav al libo kefutin. And he should have his hands on top of each other. And he's gonna. We'll see how exactly in a second. But this is again out of reverence and respect, in order to put someone in the proper mindset that he is standing before the King of Kings. Hayimanit ala semalit, his right hand over his left hand. Ve'omed ke'eved lifnei rabbo, and he should stand as if he is standing before a master. As a servant before his master. Be'ema ve'yir'a v'fachat, in reverence, in awe, and in fear. Ve'lo yaniach yadav al halatav, an individual is prohibited from placing his hands on his hips, as this is not such a respectful way to stand before a king. Halakha. Tikkun hamabush ketzad. How is the condition of being properly clothed fulfilled? Betaken malbushot tehillah umtzayen atzmo umhadder. Shene'emar ishtachavu la'Adonai b'hadat kodesh. The individual should properly adjust his clothes and make himself neat and tidy, as the pasuk says, bow before God in the beauty of holiness or sanctity. An individual is prohibited from standing in prayer while in his undershirt, or with his head uncovered, or with his feet uncovered. If it was improper sorry. And if his feet are uncovered, unless it is proper for people of that place to stand before honorable and great people with socks. And in any place, an individual should not be holding tefillin in his hands or a sefer Torah in his arms, as his thoughts are preoccupied with them, and he's afraid, and he's focused on them, and he's focused on holding them in order for them not to fall. It's very difficult for an individual to properly focus on the tefillah while holding one of these items. Also, an individual should not hold money or vessels in his hand. However, an individual can pray with the lulav in his hand during Sukkot, as it is the mitzvah of the day. And in Hilchot lulav, Harambam will actually mention that the minhag in Yerushalayim would be for an individual to leave his house with the lulav in his hand, to go to the Bet Knesset with the lulav in his hand, to pray with the lulav in his hand, as we'll see Be'ezat Hashem in Hilchot Lulav, Perek Zayin, Halakha Kav Daled. Hayam masui al rosho v'higia zaman hatefila. if there was a burden on someone's head, and the time for tefillah arrived, and people in those days would carry things on their heads. If it was less than 4 kav, it's around 5 liters or so, and he should put it on his back and he should pray. If it was 4 kabin or more, he should put down the burden or whatever he's carrying on the floor, and only then should he pray. And the way of the sages and their students would be that they would only pray while their head would wrapped in a talit, or a prayer shawl. Again, in order to put them in the proper mindset and to allow them to focus and not be distracted. Halacha Zayin. Tikkun hamakom ketzad. How's the condition of the proper standing in a proper place fulfilled? Ya'amod b'makom namuch. Individual should stand in a low place. V'yachzir panav lakotel, and he should face the wall. וצריך לפתוח חלונות או פתחים כנגד ירושלים כדי להתפלל כנגדן. And the individual must open windows or doors that are pointed out towards Yerushalayim and pray facing them. שנאמר, וחבין פתיחן לה בעיליתה כנגד ירושלים. This is a pasuk, famous pasuk in Daniel, that the windows were open in his upper chamber towards Yerushalayim. Just a quick note, Rambam says in a Teshuvah that this only applies to a person in his house, as Daniel was. However, this does not apply to a Bet HaKnesset. An individual should set a fixed place for his tefillah, for every tefillah that he prays. He should have a fixed place to pray. An individual should not pray in an abandoned or unstable building, as the building might collapse. The Gemara gives a couple of other reasons why. And not behind the Bet HaKnesset, unless he directed himself and pointed himself to the Bet HaKnesset. This is a little bit ambiguous, and in the Gemara, the Mefarshim give a couple of different explanations to exactly what this is referring to. However, Rambam in a Teshuvah explains this halakha in the following way: that there's a square, a public square, and there aren't any structures around it, and someone prays outside the Bet HaKnesset, and his back would be facing the Bet HaKnesset, as it's a true sign of disrespect. Rather, this individual should face the Bet HaKnesset, meaning either go inside or go around the other side and be facing the Bet HaKnesset, despite him being outside the Bet HaKnesset, and not give his back to the Bet HaKnesset, unless he again directed himself and is facing the Bet HaKnesset from the other side. And it is prohibited for someone to sit beside somebody who is praying or to walk in front of him until he distances himself 4 amot from the individual that is in the middle of his tefillah. Halacha Het. לא יעמוד במקום גבוה 3 טפחים או יותר ויתפלל. Individual should not stand in a place that is 3 handbreadths or taller and pray. לא על גבי מיטה ולא על גבי כיסא. And he shouldn't pray while standing on a bed or while standing on a chair. היה בניין גבוה, if he was in a tall building, אם יש בו 4 אמות על 4 אמות, if the structure is 4 amot by 4 amot, shehu shi'ur habayit, that is the minimum qualification and size for a house. Harehu ka'aliyah umutar likpalel bo. It's as if it's considered another floor, and he is allowed to pray there. If an individual was enclosed on all sides by a partition, Even though it doesn't have 4 amot, he's allowed to pray there. He's allowed to pray there as its height isn't recognized or different, and it's considered its own domain. Halacha tet. If they were employees that were at the top of a wall or at the top of a tree, and the time for tefillah has arrived, they go down and they should pray. They go down the tree or the structure and they can pray. And they return to their work. However, if they were on top of an olive tree or a fig tree, they should pray at the top of the tree. As it's excessive to go down and it takes time. And what exactly do they pray? If they were getting paid if food and meals was there and what they were getting paid, then they can pray the regular Amidah, and they can pray 3 times a day. If they were working for wages, they pray the short prayer that we mentioned a couple of chapters ago called Havinenu. And if, regardless of their payment method, they are not Hazan and they don't lead the services, and they don't do the priestly benediction that we'll talk about later. Rabbi Yosef Kafih mentions that what Harambam here means is that they pray beyahid, and that they don't pray with a group of 10 people. Halacha Yod. Hashvayat hakol ketzad. How is the condition of properly modulating the voice fulfilled? Individual should not raise his voice during his tefillah, and he should not silently pray, meaning only in his mind and not pronounce the words. Rather, he should pronounce the words with his lips. He should make his voice audible to his ears. But he shouldn't make his voice audible to others. Unless he is sick, however, if an individual also is only able to focus if he makes his voice audible, then it's allowed. And this is only, an individual is only allowed to raise his voice during the tefillah if he is not in a congregation and praying with 10 other men over bar mitzvah, in order for everyone else not to be totally confused and thrown off by this individual whose voice they hear during their tefillah. Halacha Yod Aleph. Kiri'ah ketzad. How is the condition of bowing on one's knees fulfilled? Anyone who is praying in each tefillah, he bows at his knees 5 times. Bivracha rishona, b'tehillah u'basov. In the beginning, in the first beracha, he prays at the beginning and end. He bows, at the beginning and end. V'hodaya b'tehillah u'basov. And the last one of the last later blessings of thanks, he bows at the beginning and end. And when he finishes his tefillah, he bows and goes on his knees, and then he sorry. Let me read this part again. When an individual finishes his tefillah, he should go on his knees, go back 3 steps while he is bowed over. An individual steps back with his back lowered again, and he lowers his head first to the left and then to the right. And only after that does he raise his head from the bowing. And when an individual bows for the other 4 kiriot, he bows at Baruch. And when he wants to raise, he raises up when he says God's name. When is this applied? These 5 times of bowing in the Tefila. It's applied only in regards to a regular person. Aval Kohen Gadol Korea Bithilat Kol Beracha Uvsof Kol Beracha. However, the high priest bows on his knees at the start of every beracha and at the ending of every beracha. Vehamelech, and the king, Kevan sheshaha barishona, because he lowered his head when he first began the tefillah, the first bowing, eno magbia rosho ad shegomer tefilato. He does not raise his head until he finishes his tefillah. And this is something extremely interesting to point out, that because of their respective positions, the Kohen Gadol and the king, one would think that they should not have to bow, or they might be above the law, or they aren't necessarily responsible for their actions. Jewish legal system, because of these people's positions, they because of the added responsibility that they have, they must have more reverence and more humility in comparison to another individual. And they, just like everybody else, are under the law for their actions. And naturally, anyone in a position of power, the power would likely get to their head. And this is a way in halacha that we try and avoid that. Halacha Yod Bet. Why does he bow his head first to the left? Because his left is the right of anyone that's facing him. As if, in other words, if when he is standing before a king, he first bows to the right of the king, and then does he bow to the left of the king. And the sages ordained that an individual finishes his tefillah just like an individual would finish speaking to a king, and bow first to the left and to the right. All of these bowings that we mentioned before, individual must bow so much so that all the vertebrae in his spine bulge outwards. And he should make his spine in the shape of a bow. And if an individual bowed a little bit, and it's painful for him to bow more, and it's evident that he's bowing as low as he can, he is okay, and he doesn't need to suspect himself of not bowing fully. How is the condition of prostrating oneself fulfilled? After an individual raises his head from the final bowing on the knees of the tefillah, he falls on the floor and has his head touch the ground, and offers supplication as he pleases. And Chachamim never established a set formula, and anyone can say their own supplications at this point after the tefillah. Kiri'ah ha'amura b'Torah, b'chol makom, when we say kiri'ah in every place, we're referring to the following kiri'ah. Al birkaim, we're referring to the type of bowing that one would be on his knees and bow. kidda, when we say kidda, al apayim, we're referring to on one's nose or face that is touching the ground. Hishtahavaya, when we say hishtahavaya, we're referring to ze pishut yadayim v'raglayim. We're referring to of one's hands and feet totally on the ground until an individual finds himself totally lying face down on the floor. Halacha Ch.5. When an individual does the nefilat apayim that we mentioned earlier, a minute ago, after his tefillah, yesh mishehu oseh kidda, yesh mishehu oseh hishtahavaya. There are those who do kidda, and there are those who do hishtahavaya. ואסור לעשות השתחוויה על האבנים אלא במקדש, כמו שבאנו בהלכות עבודה זרה. But an individual is prohibited from doing השתחוויה, which is the fully fledged prostration on the floor, on a stone floor, save for the mikdash, as we mentioned and said in הלכות עבודה זרה. ואין אדם חשוב רשאי ליפול על פניו, אלא אם כן היה יודע בעצמו שהוא צדיק כיהושע. An individual, an important figure, may not fall down on his face unless he knows that he is righteous as Yehoshua. Because after Yehoshua fell on his face, Yehoshua, he was immediately answered. And the Gemara talks about this. See, Masechet Megillah, Daf Ch.5 Amud Bet. And the Gemara learns this actually from Rav. That Rav, one of the greatest Amoraim, did not bow during the Nefilat Apayim. Rather, this type of individual an important person again, should lower his face a little bit, and should not press his face on the floor. An individual can pray in one place and do nefilat apayim in a different place. And just to clarify what I said a minute ago, the Gemara learns this from Rav and offers different answers as to why Rav, who was the head of the yeshiva of Surah, again one of the greatest Amoraim, and was also from the family of David HaMelech, didn't bow. And Rambam takes the answer offered by Rabbi Elazar, which is the one that we mentioned with Yehoshua. Final halacha, halacha Tet-Zayin. Minhag pashut bechol Yisrael. It is a widespread practice in Israel, in the Jewish people. She'en nefilat apayim b'shabbatot u'b'mo'adot, v'lo b'rosh Hashanah, v'lo b'rashi chodashim, b'Chanukah, u'Purim, v'lo b'mincha shel arvei shabbatot, v'yimei tovim, v'lo b'arvit shel chol yom. That there is no falling on one's face on nefilat apayim from now, on Shabbat, or on the holidays, or on Rosh Hashanah, and not on the beginning of the new months, or Hanukkah, nor Purim, nor Mincha of the eve of Shabbat, or the holidays, and not during the Arvit prayer of every day. However, there are some individuals that do nefilat apayim after the evening prayer. And only on Yom Kippur do we, in a congregation, do nefilat apayim on every prayer. As Yom Kippur is the day of pleading and beseeching and fasting. B'ezrat Hashem tomorrow, not tomorrow, on Sunday, B'ezrat Hashem we'll study Perek Shishi and Perek Shvi'i.